leave the house, lock the door. I realised I forgot my keys. I locked myself out of the house. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and I wasn't going to start my weekly vlog today, honestly. I've literally wrapped up last week's vlog probably about an hour or so ago. I was busy editing and I didn't think I would start it today. However, sod it. Why not? Let's just go for it. I also don't know what I'm reading this week. I do know for definite that I'm going to be starting the Tuesday Club Murders. Now, how many short stories are in here? 13, hence why it was called Miss Marple's 13 Problems. That would be an indication. So yeah, so there's 13 stories. So I think what I would like to do is read 3 a week. Maybe the last week read 4 or something. But that's what I would like to do. So I definitely am going to be starting this one probably today. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I really wanted to start, as I've said like 70,000 times, but with Miss Marple. I really want to start with her collection, and these are some short stories that all take place before her actual novel with Miss Marple in it. So I definitely wanted to read this one first. So very excited. No, I'm definitely going to be starting that this week. But then alongside that, I do want an actual novel to read. So I'm stuck between 2. So we've got either Kat Dunn's Dangerous Remedy, which I did contemplate reading last week, but instead went with If We Were Villains, but that was a really good book. So it's still contemplating this one because this one is high up on my TBR for the month, or go with something a bit different, and that's Mrs. Death at Mrs. Death. So maybe we'll decide it now. Let's read the first couple sentences of each book and then we can decide. Oh, I like the dedication. Mourn the dead and fight like hell for the living. It's quite a good dedication. Oh yeah, of course, this one started with a disclaimer, so I'm actually gonna skip past that and go with the very first bit. And it says, oh, Mrs. Death Diaries, the first morning of the first morning. Oh, this is going to be so much wordplay. It's going to be great. When I called for change, did you pass by me? Did you see me today? I sit on a bench outside London's King's Cross station. I like train stations and airport bests. Okay, so this book is definitely going to be wordplay, which, to be fair, I should have got that from the title with the whole Mrs. Death and Mrs. Death. But there does seem to be a lot of wordplay, which is always good. Or we have Dangerous Remedy. Oh, and there is the quote from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I really appreciate. None but those who have experienced them can conceive of the enticements of science. But okay, the first bit, Parial Year 2 in the Revolutionary Calendar. The revolution is 5 years old. King Louis XVI and Queen Mary Antoinette are dead. Robespierre's faction controls the revolutionary government and has ushered in terror, along with war with England and a burgeoning police state. Ooh, okay. So that was just... Let me do what I did with that one, because technically I did skip past the introduction bit on that one and went straight to chapter 1. A bullet ripped through the fabric of the hot air balloon, and Ada knew their whole plan had been a terrible mistake. So this one's definitely going to be a lot more like historical fiction, set just after the French Revolution, which honestly does sound really good. Or we have something which seems to be more wordplay. That actually didn't help because I like both. I do have high hopes for this one, but also I think it could be a bit of a harder read at times as well. It does reflect Mrs. Death and the person that she's talking to, Wolf, on their losses that they've experienced. And so I think maybe I'll put that one down for now, because I have been feeling a bit emotionally tender lately. So maybe going with a French Revolution sounds like a lot of fun, and then pairing that with a few short stories with the Tuesday Club Murders. I do have some books that I'm definitely going to be reading this month. So I have 14 books to read for the month, which was a whole point of me. I can just mood read out of that lot. But there are a few that I'm definitely going to get to. One of them is The Midnight Library, because lots of you have been wanting to know my thoughts on that one. The same with The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. So that's another one I'm definitely getting to, as well as the book which you guys have to choose between, which is either Hex or Conversations with Friends. That is probably going to be read at the end of the month. The votes for that are so close, like it's within 1 vote of each other, so I want to give it a bit more time. So those are the 3 that I'm definitely going to be reading this month, which I think I'll start on that maybe next week. So this week is just going to be whatever I feel like. A French Revolution? It does sound fun. It does sound fun. Or I could just look through my other list of the 13 books I've still got to read for the month and choose something completely different. Who actually knows? This was supposed to be a really decisive choice and I feel like I haven't actually decided anything. But welcome to the vlog. I hope you're all doing well and let me know what you've been up to and what you're reading. And yeah, I guess we're gonna find out together what on earth I've actually chosen to read. Good morning. I had a lovely day yesterday, but let me start off with the book I actually chose to read because it was neither of the two options I showed you. Instead, I went with The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've heard so many good things about her writing, so I decided let's go with this one. I'm actually up to chapter 4, so I've read obviously 3 chapters and we have 3 different perspectives so far. I've read obviously a chapter from each perspective. Bit tired today, give me a moment. Starts off following Hector, and Hector is someone that's recently come back to this town where it's all set in. He has been pining for the same person that he fell in love with 10 years ago, and that's Valerie, and he is determined to see her, make her acquaintance again after everything that happened, and so he deliberately goes to this ball specifically to find Valerie. But it turns out she's not actually there, and instead he bumps into Nina. And then the second perspective is all about Nina, and she's thinking about the fact that she met Hector at the ball and he's a psychokinetic. He has telekinesis powers and she's very interested in this, and so she makes his acquaintance. She's a little bit clumsy with the social niceties. She's from the countryside. She's come into the town to be with her cousin who happens to be Valerie, and she kind of resents all the structure and everything that's going on, and so you're just learning about her as a person. And she is someone that has telekinetic powers as well, doesn't have a very good grasp on them, and she is just someone that's kind of naive and a bit silly, but also wants a whirlwind romance, and she's thinking maybe Hector's that. And then we have the third perspective, which is Valerie, which is Nina's cousin, who Nina is staying with. Well, cousin-in-law, because Valerie is married to her cousin. Valerie is very strict, she's very like upper class, proper, and likes to do things in a certain way, and she's frustrated with Nina because of how country-like she is. Like, she doesn't see her as a proper full-fledged girl because of the fact that she is just not up to date with how a woman should be in Valerie's eyes. And then she hears that Nina met Hector and has invited Hector to come round the following Tuesday. There's a lot going on because then Valerie goes, oh my god, yes, he can come over, and kind of disguises it, but also she's nervous but excited, and there is something going on there. So that's where we're up to. We've got 3 chapters in. We know that there's telekinetic powers, we have the upper class society, Nina is struggling to fit in, and she's somehow got tangled up in this whole love affair that went on, and she does not realise this at all. I can see this being very messy, very fun. This is actually quite a short book, it's less than 300 pages, but I am really enjoying it. I'm loving the setting. It is like almost like a Victorian society setting, but with telekinesis added in. So yeah, really enjoying that so far. I mean, obviously I'm only 3 chapters in, so we've only just met our characters, but I do think the way our characters have been built for their expectations and stuff, I think it's going to be a good one. Then I was going to be meeting my partner yesterday, but before I did, I popped into the local card shop and I met Eric, who is a lovely subscriber, watches all my videos, but I see him quite frequently, and he gave me Dracula by Bram Stoker, the English Library edition, which is the edition I've been after for ages, and I just cannot find it in any of the shops. And he was like, I know, this is for you, thank you for the videos. And I'm just like, oh my god, thank you. And I'm just, yeah. So that was great, that was lovely. I'm so excited to have this, and now all I want to do is like reread Dracula. Like, that's all I want to do, and maybe I'll squeeze it. I keep saying everything for October because there are so many books I actually want to reread, gothic literature classics or like murder mysteries and stuff like, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fit them all in, but I definitely do want to reread Dracula. I'm so excited. It's been years since I've read that book, but yeah, this was amazing. Like, I can't believe it's in this edition, like this edition, the edition to match my collection. Yes, I'm so excited and so grateful, and just, this was lovely. It was absolutely lovely, especially because I was having a bit of a tough week. Like, just, as I mentioned, being a bit emotionally tender, and so just being able to have a chat with him and we just discussed a book, catch up, and then yeah, being able to get a book as well. Like it was lovely, it was definitely needed. And then I did meet my partner and we went up into central London, and I had one mission, and that mission was to get a pair of Doc Martens because I have been saving up little by little each month so I can buy myself a pair. And I did. I'm very happy with them. So I specifically wanted a pair of brown Doc Martens. Like I've really been feeling that. I've been wanting a pair of Doc Martens for years, but never got them because I was always too scared, because like people say they take ages to break in and stuff. This year I was like, no, I got a new job, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna treat myself. But I've been saving up slowly because they are more expensive. I went with these ones. There was a couple that I was stuck between, but after trying them both on quite a bit, I then ended up going with this pair. They're really comfortable actually, and they're not too heavy, because the other pair I liked had a much thicker sole and they look amazing, like proper stand out, amazing, but they were just a bit too heavy on my feet. So I'm very happy with those, treated myself. And then apparently the treats just carried on happening. We had, my partner wanted to go to Forbidden Planet, so we went there. He wanted to get magic cards. I ended up with a book. It was £3 off. Like like £3 off. You can't say no, right? But this is another book that's saying like if you like dark academia, then try this. And considering how much I loved If We Were Villains, and I've enjoyed Bunny and a few other books, I would like to try this one. I don't know too much about it. I just know that on the back it says that we've got two best friends bonded together more deeply than brothers. One of them dies of an apparent suicide, and like it's all a bit mysterious and stuff. I don't know, I just know that people have said if you do like dark academia, this is one to try, and I would like to try. And it was £3 off, so why not? We were doing a bit of shopping for my partner, doing some clothes shopping and that. On the way to one of the shops, I found another one of these little kitties. I have two of these already, and I got them from the same place that I got the other two. It's like this little Chinese store, and I love these so much. But then on the way to another clothes shop for my partner, I found a clothes shop for myself, and it's this massive second-hand vintage clothing store, and it's been there for years apparently, but I've just never really paid attention to it. And it's right near like Foyles, Forbidden Planet, like all round that area. If you know London, if you don't, then that was not helpful. It's amazing, and all their clothes are £12.95, like regardless of whether it's a coat or shoes or whatever it is, everything is £12.95. It is a bit of a hodgepodge, you really have to rummage through everything, so I'm definitely going to be going back again. But I did find this lovely skirt, like I absolutely love it, it's beautiful. So I got this one and I am planning to go back. Anyway, we had a lovely time, and then we had hot pot for dinner, and then I came back rather early this morning because he's at work today, so I was back early. But waiting for me when I got home was a package. Now I've already unboxed it because I actually did the unboxing on TikTok, because it was through TikTok that I found this book, and that is the Uncensored edition of the Picture of Dorian Gray. And I'm so excited. I think this is going to be fantastic. Nowhere really does this book. I had to go through a website which is Queer Lit UK, and that's how I got this book. It's not something like Waterstones and that, they just don't do it. This is the only version of it as well, and I only found this out because someone was talking about it on TikTok. So I was very happy to find that. As for today, I've got loads and loads of filming that I want to get done, so I'm going to be focusing on doing all of that and reading a bit more of my book, and then back to work on Monday. So yeah, I will probably catch up with you maybe tomorrow morning if I've read more. If not, who actually knows? Anyway, right, I just need to put all this stuff away. I ended up having a day yesterday. Oh god. I'd literally planned on having a really good filming day, and then to break it up, to go into Bromley, have some lunch, sort out my phone contract, just do a few little bits and then come back and finish up. So I got myself all ready, put my keys in my cardigan pocket, and then as I opened the door, I was like, oh, actually it's a bit warm and I'm going to be carrying back food shopping as well, so let me leave my cardigan here. So take it off, hang it on the banister, leave the house, lock the door. I realised I forgot my keys. I locked myself out of the house. I mean, yes, at least I realised straight away, but everyone was out. They had all gone to my sister's for Sunday roast, which is why I had decided, you know what, actually, let me catch up on filming for the months, because I still had a few videos I wanted to film, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to focus on doing that. So yeah, I had to call my mum, and she had to come all the way down to let me in the house because I'd locked myself out. While I was waiting for her to drive down, thankfully it's not far, but while I was waiting I then decided, you know what, I'm going to do all my food shopping, get it done, and then that's it, I'm not leaving the house again. So the whole plan of going into Bromley, sitting in a coffee shop, that never happened. It just didn't happen, and yeah, wow. I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, this has never happened to me before. Normally I'm so careful about that sort of thing, like I would double check everything so many times. So that happened. So in the end I just didn't leave the house afterwards. I didn't go get my coffee or anything, plus I was hungry at this point, so it was a whole thing. But I did get all the filming done that I wanted to do, so everything for September is now filmed, which is great considering we're right at the start of the month, but everything's filmed. It gives me time to do all the editing and stuff. I don't have to stress about trying to fit it in. One thing I was starting to get stressed about is, when do I film? Because I was just getting, for some reason the last couple of months I've just been so behind, and I was like, no, you know what, this has got to change. So I did a dedicated filming day to get myself ahead, as all I've got to do is edit, which is easy to fit in around work. Anyway, I have read quite a bit actually. So I'm now in the middle of 3 books. So I've continued on with the beautiful ones, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm now up to chapter 14, page 90. So I've got about 200 pages left to go. I'm really enjoying this. I feel like things are going to go terribly wrong for Nina. She is in love with Hector. She believes that he's going to propose. She's admitted it, she knows it. But Hector is obviously obsessed with Valerie. He likes Nina. He can say that, you know, she's a nice, pleasant girl. And he did have this kind of more open moment with her where he can go, you know, I do feel a bit happier when I'm around you, because even Nina's picked up on the fact that he has these melancholy moments. Valerie is a character that I think most people won't like. She is very strict, very stern, she's merciless, but I kind of like her anyway, because it's like she's true to herself and she doesn't hide, she doesn't hold back. She knows exactly who she is. She knows that she's pretentious, she knows that she's upper class and stuck up, but she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, well, that's me. And part of that is the way she's been raised and what society expects of her, but also part of that is just who she is. Like, she even says she's not known to be nice, and she doesn't care about that. And I kind of like it. It's kind of refreshing to have someone that is so, I'm myself, and if you don't like it, who cares? But yeah, I do feel like Nina's going to get hurt, and that this is going to get tangled and messy and just, yeah, all over the place, especially because Valerie likes playing games with Hector, and Hector, as much as he's frustrated with it at times, he also can't help it because he's still so obsessed with Valerie. It's a mess. I would actually say that this is definitely more like Regency drama, romance with just a sprinkling of fantasy elements with the telekinesis. It's actually perfect. I'm really enjoying this. And then I did start The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. I've only read the first 2 chapters. I'm on page 49. They're quite long chapters. And I think what I'm going to do for this month is read this slowly over the course of the month. So aim to read about 100 pages a week. This is really interesting. This is the type of fantasy that I've not read in a very, very long time. It's quite heavy on the fantasy side of things. So you have our main character, and she appears to be like a, I don't know the proper name for it, like a troll creature in a way. She's got grey skin, yellow eyes, tusks. She comes from a place where they have this obsession with the unspoken one, and he's like their god, and she at the age of 14 was meant to be sacrificed to him. Instead she runs away with this man who seems to be elf because he's got like really pointy ears and everything, and he is a wizard, that's what they call him, and he gives her an option. He's like, you can either stay here and see what your god's got planned for you, or you can come with me. And so she goes with him, and they start going through like this weird maze that then links to different worlds, but it all kind of links together. Like, this is the type of heavy fantasy that I've just, yeah, as I've said, just not read in a while. Like, you've got different worlds, you've got different creatures, you've got all these sorts of different things going on. And I like it, but it's taken me a moment to get into it, and I'm reading it a bit slower because I haven't read any fantasy like this in a while. Like, all the fantasy that I've been reading recently is historical setting with bits of light magic. I would say this is quite heavy magic and like fantasy, world building and stuff. Like, the actual magic side of things, we haven't seen loads. We've just seen that people, to use magic, they have to call upon their patron, so their god or goddess, and then it gives them magic. So for like our main character, she would give prophecies and stuff because she'd become a vessel for the unspoken one to talk through her. It's really unusual, but I like our main character. We're only seeing it from her perspective, so the companion that she's now with is kind of like the mentor trope that you get in fantasy, where you have this girl that's been chosen and she's now being mentored by this man. He is in exile and she doesn't know why fully, so everything's a little bit mysterious around him. So there's a lot going on, and it's only 2 chapters in. So that's why I'm going to read it slowly. I think until I get my head around everything and follow it, I don't want to rush read it and then not understand it. So I'm taking my time with this one, and I'm really intrigued to see how it actually develops. We've already passed over 2 years in the space of 2 chapters, and normally I don't like time jumps. I've said this many times on this channel, but actually this one's done quite nicely, quite seamlessly. So yeah, I'm intrigued because I feel like something big's gonna happen, but I just don't know what. And then the third book I started is The Tuesday Club Murders by Agatha Christie, which I'm pretty sure I said in this video I was gonna start. I've said it recently that I was going to be starting this book, and I read the first short story, and it was only 15 pages long, and that was The Tuesday Nightclub. So where we have this group of 6 people that get together and they decide that they're going to discuss different mysteries and see if they can solve them. And it was really fun. Like, I could definitely see where Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club got inspiration from, because even some of the characters felt similar. This kind of felt like how it would have started for them, because in The Thursday Murder Club you see them as they've already established this club. This one was the start of it. You can see where he got his inspiration from. But I enjoyed it. It was really fun. They got given this murder mystery because there is a retired policeman as a part of this group, and he was saying about how they had this mystery that only recently got solved. So he starts giving them all the facts that they got given and like wants to see what their theories are on it, and the only person that gets it right is Miss Marple, and everyone's really surprised at this because they just kind of see her as like this elderly aunt who, you know, is a little bit not fully with it. She's just there because, you know, we're being nice sort of thing, and turns out that she's one that guessed it perfectly. And I loved it. It was really good, and it was actually quite a fun mystery. Like, this is cozy mystery at its finest. Like, this was great. So I'm really pleased that I'm going to be reading one of these like a few times a week before I go to bed. It's perfect. So there we go. We went from reading 1 book to 3. Anyway, I've been chatting for quite a while, which at this point nobody is surprised. Although, saying that, I've had a few comments going that they like the ramble. So I'm sorry for everyone that doesn't, but the majority of you seem to like it, and I like rambling, so let's do it. Anyway, I can't actually ramble for too much longer because I've actually got things that I want to do before I go to work today. So I will catch up with you when I've read a bit more. Good morning. I have read more of The Beautiful Ones and absolutely loving this. I am up to part 2, chapter 8, page 179, so we've only got a little bit left to go, and it's so good. I'm really enjoying the character development in this, and I think as much as I said I like Valerie as a character because she's just so unapologetically herself, she still is, but I can definitely say she is very, very cruel, and there are some things that she's doing now that I I just don't agree with. Like, don't get me wrong, she was never a nice person, but I do think she's getting worse, and she's incredibly jealous of Nina, and she's just very destructive as a person, very toxic. So that's interesting to see her grow in that way. Like, you could always see it as a possibility there, but you're seeing it more and more clearly that she is just a very, very toxic person. At the end of part 1, we did have a massive mess come about because of the whole situation with Hector, Valerie and Nina being stuck in the middle. And then you have part 2 where Nina's kind of grown a bit. She's learned to control her powers more, which I think is really interesting and a really nice way to see how she's grown as a character. Hector is just melancholy as always. But I do think if you like this book, there's a few different options you can go for. So if you like the romance side of this, Jane Austen is your friend here. Nina reminds me heavily of a mixture of Elizabeth Bennet and Catherine Morland from Pride and Prejudice and Northanger respectively. I highly recommend those books if you like this. The romance plotline kind of reminds me a bit like Persuasion in a way, but also a mixture of Mansfield Park with everything that happens with Fanny and a particular person that goes, oh but I love you and all of this stuff. Nina's kind of having to deal with her own version of that right now. So I do think if you like this, give Jane Austen a try. It's very good. But if you like the subtle fantasy element and want a bit more, and maybe slightly less on the romance, then I would try A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent, and this is by Marie Brennan. This was fantastic. It's one of my favourites. I need to carry on and get the rest of the books. I'm in love with it. I would say that, again, very similar. Lady Trent and Nina kind of remind me of one another. They're both pushing out against societal boundaries. They both have an interest in the natural world. Nina is obsessed with bugs, which... why did it have to be bugs? But anyway, she is obsessed with bugs, absolutely loves them, and because of her telekinesis, she's pushing out against what society thinks is acceptable for a lady to be interested in and what she should be doing. Lady Trent goes through the same thing because she has this obsession with natural history and with dragons, and that's not seen as a very womanly pursuit. I would say if you like one, try the other. 100%. And then Jane Austen kind of goes with both of them because of the vibes, the setting, and especially the romance in this. I do actually think I might do a if you like this book, try this book video again. I did one previously, but there's been so many books that I've been reading that I think actually these go well. They have kind of like the subtle similar influences and stuff, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. But yeah, 100%, if you like The Beautiful Ones or Natural History of Dragons, try the other one, because I do think there are elements of both that work really, really well in this. Only a bit of a quicker update. I wasn't actually planning to update today, but I am quite busy tomorrow, so I don't think I'm going to be updating tomorrow. And honestly, there was a lot that's happened in this, but I also don't want to go into it too much because of spoilers. But it's really, really good, and I think especially with like the Jane Austen books, if you've read them, you'll kind of understand a bit what's happening in this book. But yeah, really, really enjoying this. I kind of wish it wasn't just a standalone because I'm enjoying it so much, but also I'm really intrigued to see the way it wraps up, and hopefully it has one of those endings where I'm like, okay, yeah, this works really well as just a standalone. But yeah, loving it. Think it's absolutely great. Love the writing style. Very intrigued to see what Sylvia Moreno Garcia's written. Like, she's done loads of other books in lots of different genres, so I'll be really interested to see whether the same writing style carries on into both or whether she changes her I don't know. I'm intrigued, but I really am enjoying this one. I think it's so good. So good. I can't thank Reagan from Peruse Project enough for chatting about this one and just loving it and going on about it so much, because that's the reason why I picked this up. So thank you for doing that, because this is great. And then the last thing for me to talk about is I got sent a package, and I know what this one is. I was sent a set of 6 essential oils by Buri. I'll have their name here because I do think I'm mispronouncing that, in exchange for an honest review. First of all, I love this packaging. It's really beautiful and simple and floral and stuff, so yes, I love that. And these are all 100% pure essential oils, therapeutic grade. They're only 10 millimeters big. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I love it. So I chose the one where you have lotus, lily, gardenia, lavender, jasmine and rose. And I really like these. I think having essential oils, like I like diffusing them. And I think it's so beautiful. It makes your room smell absolutely lovely, and it sets the tone. Like when I want to read, having just the right setting with some smells going on and stuff, like perfect. Absolutely love it. So let's give some of these a try actually. Ooh, that's Lily. Honestly, beautiful. Absolutely love them. I know some people like putting them on top of like little oil burners with like little candles underneath. I might get myself one of those. Normally I actually just mix them and put them as part of like a reed diffuser, but I might try it with the candle ones as well. But they smell absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that's nice. Lavender, can't go wrong with a bit of that. Honestly, all of these are absolutely beautiful. The packaging is perfect. Oh, thank you so much for sending these. They've all, because I've gone for ones that are very floral, they all have that beautiful floral essence to them, and it's just, I love it. They had so many different scents and stuff you can choose from, so depending on the sort of scents that you prefer. I do quite like a nice floral one, but this is nice because there are some with like more citrusy elements, some with a bit more sweeter, so I do think it works really well for whatever you're feeling like. These are absolutely lovely. I can't wait to start using them. When I do, I will definitely be putting in some clips and updating how we're getting on with those. But yeah, thank you so much for sending these to me, and yeah, absolutely lovely. Would highly recommend. Right, okay, well I've got plenty to do this morning before work, so I'm going to get on with that, and like I said, I'll probably catch up with you Thursday. Hopefully by then I would have finished the beautiful ones and made a bit more progress with the other books, but we will see. We will see. Good morning. It is a miserable day outside. It is raining a lot, but that's not going to prevent me from actually going out because it is Thursday and I still want to go to that vintage clothes store. So we're going to brave the weather and just enjoy it. But first of all, reading. I did finish the beautiful ones. I finished this on Tuesday. I'll say it's not going to be like a new favourite book, but it does very much show the sort of books that I'm interested in reading at the moment. And I did like the ending. Like, I could predict some of the stuff that happened, not everything, but a majority of stuff that happened. The way it all fell out for Nina, that's what I predicted. Valerie was a bit more of a wild card, but you could see the path of destruction that she had put herself on. The way her bitterness, her jealousy, how all of that has tainted her life for so long that she no longer recognises how to be happy. So that was really interesting. But I just want to emphasise that if you're going into this for the fantasy element, it's really, really light and doesn't play a massive role within this story. It's definitely more of the historical romance type setting. But I did enjoy this. I think actually, you know, I was saying how I wished like it was more of a series and stuff. I do think you could do more books set in this world, but I think their storyline did wrap up really nicely actually. I think the way it ended, it did kind of have a good conclusion to it. Like I said, it just reminds me of like an Austen novel. So then yesterday I was doing a bit of travelling around. I went to see my dad. We played loads of Magic the Gathering and stuff, and I took If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha with me. I'm now on, it doesn't have chapter numbers, but I'm on page 76 and we're going to be following Aya. Now we're following 4 different women, so you have perspectives of all 4, and I've now read all 4 of the perspectives, so I'd say actually maybe I'm up to chapter 5 then in that respect, and it is quite interesting. So this is set in Seoul, so South Korea, and we're following these different women that all live in the same building as one another, and just their difficulty in the beauty standards, the way that societal standards are set for women, and everything that you're dealing with. And so far we've just learned about each individual girl's past, but also how they all link up to one another. So I'm really intrigued to see where this goes and how it's going to continue on. I do think it's a really interesting cultural look at beauty standards and just how much like surgery they have to go through. Like a lot of them are talking about surgery to like shave their jaw to get the perfect look, or have nose jobs or things like this, and they pay out so much money to have this all done because of their such high standards. And it's just, It's unreal. So yeah, so we are following 4 different characters. So we have Curie, I'm sorry, I'm going to be pronouncing these wrong, but she is a room salon girl, which is basically someone that entertains men, and this could be like just pouring their drinks and stuff to more actual things. Then we have Mihu, who's an artist, and she becomes caught up with this boy who is very elite and wealthy. As a result, mother very much disapproves of her, and she's just constantly in this struggle of feeling so inadequate, and also there's so much more that's entangled with all of that, because the person that her boyfriend was previously with was her employer, and she was obsessed with her, and it's a very tangled web, very messy situation. Then we have Aya, who is a hairstylist. Yeah, just learning a bit more about her, also where she was raised, and how I think Aya's the one that's lost her voice, and you don't know exactly why, but it has been hinted at a few times as to something very dramatic happened to her, but you haven't been told explicitly what yet. And then you have Wona, and she's their neighbour that lives 1 floor below these girls, and she's pregnant, and she has had a really horrendous childhood. She was brought up with her grandmother, and it was very, very horrible. The reason why she's with her husband is because her husband's mother's dead, so she doesn't have to deal with a grandmother for her child. So it's all very messy. All their lives are very, very messy, and I can't wait to see how this story progresses. So it's very much just the introduction so far. It is quite a short book. I can't even say that this is outside my genre, because that's what I was going to say, but I do enjoy a contemporary book every so often, I've realised. And yeah, this is messy, but I'm so interested. And then last night when I'd got back home, I read a short story from here, The Idle House of Astarte. This was very good. Again, these are all 15 pages long, so it did not take long, but I really enjoyed it. It had more of a spooky, supernatural element to it, until of course Miss Marple just solves the whole thing. And she does it in such a fun way. She's very much like, oh dear, like knitting away, like, well of course this happened. Don't you remember when and everyone's just like, well, what has that got to do with this? Like, are you sure? And then obviously she proves them all right, and they're just like, how are you doing this? Like, it's amazing. But yeah, I do love it. It's just that perfect cozy vibe, and because these are only 15 pages long, it's great to read before going to bed and just snuggling up. Like, I'm really, really enjoying this. It's so much fun. Honestly, Miss Marple is someone that I'm really enjoying as a character. Like, she just sits in her armchair listening to everything and then goes, well, of course it must be this person. And they're all like, wait, what? How did you get to that resolution? And then she explains it all, and it makes perfect sense. They just didn't think about it like that. And she can make connections that they don't, and she puts it down to experience, because she is the older lady. And I love it. I'm really, really enjoying it. And just all the coziness that goes with this one, and even the different characteristics of some of these characters that are a part of this murder club. They are so reminiscent of the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which I shouldn't say, it's definitely the other way around. I've said it like that because I read that one first, but you can definitely see where Richard Osman got his inspiration from. Like, if it wasn't from Agatha Christie, Miss Marple and this particular book, I will be incredibly surprised. But I think I might actually do some research onto where he got his inspiration from, because those characters, even like some of the character names and stuff, it feels so reminiscent of this. He did it in a different way, but obviously I haven't read a full novel yet, so maybe I'll realise that actually he's just done a modernised version of an Agatha Christie novel. Either way, I'm really, really enjoying this. It's so much fun. I love it so much. It's just cosy and perfect and just exactly what I wanted. Very happy with all of this. I think we're gonna have a rather good day, even though the weather is miserable outside. We have an umbrella, we've got boots, we're covered. Made it to the end of my first early shift. I'm back home, obviously, but I'm very tired. So I'm gonna try and make this as concise as possible, but it is like the 4th time I've tried to say this. But I have read more of If I Had Your Face. I'm now on page 144, and I'm just feeling okay about this book. Like, I do think it does a good look at the society in Korea. As I've already mentioned, in South Korea, the beauty expectations are really clear in this. Difficulty and the work ethic, the everything to do with that is very clear, and I think it does a really good job of exploring that and showing how difficult it all is. However, I can say I'm just not gripped by this, and I thought there'd be more interaction between all the girls. I can say between the three younger main characters, yes, there seems to be that interaction. Two of them are literally roommates. The other one does the hair for one of them. Like, they all interact on the same level of the apartment block, so they bump into each other quite a lot. But then Wona, who is the one living at a level below them, she doesn't really interact with them still at that point. It's been a bit interesting with her because you see how she's trying to become pregnant and all of the difficulties with that, and just the work ethic side of things. I think all of them, you do see that, and just how brutal this culture can be from what's in this book. There's just nothing really going, oh, I'm really excited by this. And I think because I started off the month so strongly with If We Were Villains and even The Beautiful Ones, there was a bit more going on in that. I feel like this one, there just doesn't seem to be. I'm just wanting a bit more from it, but I couldn't tell you what that is. I think maybe just more interaction between these girls, are coming together, a realization, you know, bring themselves out of it. But I suppose that's just not realistic, and this is a contemporary book. It is a look at South Korean society from the perspective of these women. In that respect, it's doing everything it set out to do, and there are some amazing parts of this book, like amazing quotes and things, so I do think it is good for that. I'm just not in the contemporary mood. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I don't want to make it like it's bad. It's not bad. I am enjoying it. It's just not as good as like, oh my god, this is a brand new favourite book. I think this is more of like it's good and I appreciate it, but that's it. So I suppose in if it was a star rating thing when I was still doing that, it'd be like a 3-star. Like, it's not bad, but it's not brilliant. It's not a fantastic new book for me, but I know so many people do love this book. I still have 120 pages to go, so there might be something that happens there. For now, I'm finding it interesting, but I'm also just waiting for something to happen. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. That's all I've really read. I haven't read anything extra, but I did go shopping. So in the vintage shop, I had a little rummage around, and I ended up getting this skirt, which I'm really pleased with. It's got quite a nice plaid pattern to it and buttons and stuff. I do need to do a little bit of work because it actually has buttons on both sides, but I don't want it front and back. So I'm thinking, because one side is just for aesthetics only, I'm going to take off those buttons so that I have it just at the front. That's something that I'm going to be doing. That really won't take long at all. And again, $12.95, the fabric's good, everything else about it is really good, so happy with that. And then I also picked up this cardigan. I was really pleased with this because I don't actually own a brown cardigan, and it is that chunky material type, and it's got big buttons and everything, so I was really pleased with that. And actually in the shop and that, they went really well together, so I was very pleased. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a top because that would have like completed a full outfit, but I was really happy with that, and I enjoyed just having a little rummage. And then also yesterday I treated myself to a mouse. So it's a mouse and a mouse pad. I do have my laptop, but it's all touchpad and it just really annoys me when I'm trying to use it, so I wanted a mouse. I'm also thinking about upgrading to an actual proper computer to make things easier, so I thought I'd get a mouse. I'm very excited. It's Hello Kitty. Let me show you actually. Is that not cute? Like, look at that. That is adorable. So yeah, I treated myself to that, so I was very happy, just because I've been wanting a mouse for ages. Like, ever since I first got that blooming laptop, it's annoyed me, and I just have never done anything about it. And then today I was buying myself some lunch because I forgot to buy lunch ready for my early shifts. Like, normally I'm really good at bringing lunch into work to save money, and I completely forgot, so I had to go buy lunch. But while I was there, they had this plant and it was reduced, and it was just sat there looking really crusty and not great at all, and it was all like just reduced and looking lonely, so I decided to pick it up. I'm like, how could you leave that there? So I watered it while I was at work, and I've trimmed off all the crusty bits, and it is looking already so much better than when it did in that shot. I'm very, very pleased. I don't have a fern, so that's a nice little addition to the collection. It is getting a bit out of hand with the plants. You can't really tell in the videos, but I do have quite a few now. I don't care though. I'm really happy with this. It looks lovely. I love the leaves. Hopefully that will do well here. But that's it really. That's it for this update. I feel like it was a bit more low energy anyway because I'm tired, and not the like amazing, like I love coming on here and going, oh, this book is so good and getting really engrossed and stuff, but when it's just like an okay book, it's not that it's bad, it's just I can't get enthusiastic or excited about it because it's just okay. Tonight I'm going to maybe read another of the Agatha Christie short stories and maybe even another chapter of The Unspoken Name and stuff, just to give myself a bit of variety, and then maybe finish this up hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how we get on with that. But yeah, it was just a bit lackluster I feel like in this update, so I'm sorry, but I do think the highlight was getting this plant today. Like, it's just so adorable. I love it. Right, I've got lots to do, so I'm gonna get on and do that boring stuff like washing. Exciting times. Good morning. I did actually finish If I Had Your Face. I haven't read any more of the other two books. I've just been honestly busy. Thursday evening I plan to read some more of Agatha Christie and The Unspoken Name, but instead I got really busy organising and just going through drawers, getting rid of things that I'd been holding on to for ages. It was really quite unusual. No, that was Friday. That was Friday evening. Not Thursday, Friday evening I did all of that. Then obviously yesterday I had work in the morning and I was so worn out. I came home, napped for about an hour straight away, vegged. Although to be fair I did spend a few hours editing, but just reading just didn't get done with the other two books like I'd hoped. But as said, I did actually finish If I Had Your Face. I actually really liked the ending of this. It was so heartwarming to see these four women come together and see things looking more positive. Like, they still have all the same troubles, all the same pressures of society and beauty standards, but just more hopeful because they have each other to tackle it. And that ended really, really well. It kind of ended the way I wish normal people did. The only downside to this was, as I said, I had those 100 pages where I just felt it kind of dragged in a way. It was important because it gave you that background to all of these girls, to that build up, but also at the same time it didn't quite need to be dragged out so much, especially because at the end you don't see a resolution for everything. I feel like some parts of this, like, it could have been cut short a couple chapters, but I do like the way each of their storylines kind of came together, wrapped up together, and it just worked really well. And you do have a side character who you don't see a perspective of, but she is Aya's best friend, and she kind of gets involved with all of these girls, and she's kind of pivotal to their lives in ways that you don't quite realise until the end of the book, and you realise how much she's actually done for these people and how good a friend she is to all of them, and she is kind of the reason why they're all together in a way. And it just, yeah, it worked really well. It's ended in a better way than how I was feeling towards it when I last updated. I stick to my point that I do think this book could have been slightly shorter, even though it is quite a short book, or just had some of the drama unfolding a little bit earlier and explored that a bit more. I think would have been really good. But otherwise, not a bad read. I'm pleased I finished it. And that's it, really. Like I said, the last few days have just been me working and then being really tired. That's the downside to the early shifts. So instead of rambling, because I've been editing this video, I know how long it is. It's a long one. Again, I'm gonna just leave it here. So that's what we're gonna do. So obviously I'll be carrying over the Tuesday Club Murders and The Unspoken Name into next week, but that was expected because I'm going to be reading those across the whole month. And I guess we'll find out in next week's vlog what I start reading. But yeah, okay, enough of the ramble. I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, then let's put a black cat emoji. We're gonna leave it there. As I've said 50 times already. I do this. I repeat myself so much. I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here. Social media links will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next one.